Welcome back. Today, we're going to look at all extraordinary Abraham Lincoln wheat cents that have been shocking collectors and investors in the auction market. All coins tell their own story, carry historical weight, and most importantly, command astonishing values that could leave you amazed. So let's get into it. Coin number 1, the 1909 large date without mint mark wheat cent in fine circulated condition, has become an absolute legend in the world of American coinage. To understand its importance, we need to revisit the year 1909. That year marked the centennial anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and the U.S. Mint wanted to honor him by replacing the Indian head cent with a new design bearing Lincoln's portrait. This was the very first time in U.S. history that a president's face appeared on a regular issue circulating coin, and it was a monumental change that captured the spirit of the era. The designer, Victor David Brenner, created a portrait of Lincoln based on a famous photograph taken by Matthew Brady. On the obverse, we see Lincoln facing right, and on the reverse, two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with the Latin motto E pluribus unum arched above. It was simple, elegant, and instantly recognizable. For collectors, this design would become iconic. But back in 1909, not everyone was pleased. There was controversy over the placement of Brenner's initials VDB, which appeared prominently on the reverse at the bottom. Some critics claimed the initials were too large, so they were quickly removed, making early versions with VDB far rarer. The non-VDB coins, however, continued to be produced in massive numbers, but the large date variations and specific mint origins became critical points of interest. The Philadelphia Mint struck the 1909 Lincoln cent without any mint mark, and while the overall mintage was quite high, finding an early piece in fine circulated condition with strong details today is much more difficult than most new collectors imagine. Circulation wear has erased countless examples, and the sheer passage of time has thinned the surviving numbers. Today, when one of these coins appears in auction, especially in fine circulated condition but with clear detail, it garners massive attention. This attention isn't simply because it's an old penny, it's because it was the first of its kind, the beginning of over a century of Lincoln cents. That historical significance alone catapults it into a category of numismatic royalty. As for mintage, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 72 million examples in 1909 without mint marks, which sounds large. But when you think about the millions of hands these coins passed through over 116 years, the attrition rate is astonishing. Fewer than a fraction survive today in grades collectors desire, and even fewer remain problem-free. This scarcity in collectible condition drives the price up dramatically. When combined with the immense demand for the very first Lincoln cent ever issued, the 1909 without mint mark commands premium valuations that shock casual observers. Auction results have shown that circulated fine-condition examples can reach astronomical numbers far beyond the basic catalog values when two or more determined bidders square off, especially if the coin has a strong strike and eye appeal. In recent high-profile auctions, we've seen examples like this hammer for prices soaring well above $500,000, establishing this particular 1909 cent as one of the holy grails of American numismatics. Another factor that enhances its desirability is the large date feature. While subtle to the untrained eye, collectors of Lincoln cents know that the size and style of the numerals in the date can significantly affect demand. Large date variations carry a distinct charm, and when tied to the inaugural year of issue, they become even more prized. For many collectors, completing a Lincoln cent series begins with 1909, so competition is fierce. Moreover, the cultural reverence for Abraham Lincoln adds another layer. No other American president is as universally respected for his role in preserving the Union, ending slavery, and shaping the moral arc of the nation. Owning the very first Lincoln cent isn't just about holding a coin, it's about holding a piece of history connected to Lincoln's enduring legacy. Market values for this coin today reflect all of these realities. While price guides might suggest modest values for low-grade examples, the auction market has proven otherwise. Collectors with deep pockets are willing to pay staggering amounts for quality examples, even in circulated fine condition, simply because of the historical weight attached. Realistically, a strong fine example can command over $500,000 today, and special sales have seen even higher totals. This represents not only the intrinsic rarity, but also the passion of collectors who want to own a symbol of numismatic history. Errors, toning, and provenance can push values even higher. But even without such factors, the 1909 large date without mint mark in fine condition is a powerhouse coin in today's marketplace. Collectors chase it with a zeal that few other coins inspire, making it a centerpiece in any collection and a true investment-grade artifact. Next up, the 1926 large date without mint mark wheat penny carries a different but equally fascinating story. While not the first year of the Lincoln cent, it belongs to the early wheat series that still held on to Victor David Brenner's original design. By 1926, Lincoln cents were already a familiar sight in pockets and tills across America. The Roaring Twenties were in full swing, a time of economic boom, cultural revolution, and rapid modernization. Yet, for coin collectors, the Lincoln cent remained a constant reminder of America's past. The 1926 Philadelphia issue had a mintage of over 157 million coins, making it seem common at first glance. But as with many coins, the devil is in the details. Surviving numbers in high quality are much smaller, and specific errors can propel certain pieces into the stratosphere of value. The piece we're discussing today is a circulated 1926 large date without mint mark wheat penny that carries a significant lamination error directly on Abraham Lincoln's portrait. For those unfamiliar, a lamination error occurs when impurities in the metal or flaws in the plancher cause parts of the coin's surface to peel or flake off during or after striking. It results in dramatic cracks, missing layers, or rough textures, often appearing like scars on the coin. In the case of this particular 1926 cent, the lamination error stretches across Lincoln's face, creating a visual disruption that is both striking and historically fascinating. Errors like this are accidental, uncontrolled, and therefore unpredictable, which makes them incredibly collectible. No two are alike, and when such an error appears on a coin already nearing its centennial, it becomes a true rarity. Collectors love error coins because they break the monotony of mass production. Every lamination error tells a story of imperfection in an otherwise rigid system. For the 1926 Lincoln cent, the error adds layers of value that exceed the standard catalog entries. Instead of being one among millions, this damaged portrait example becomes one of a kind. Even in circulated condition, errors retain their allure. Some might assume that damage lowers value, but in numismatics, when that damage is caused by a minting error rather than post-mint abuse, it becomes a highlight rather than a flaw. A lamination error on Lincoln's face is particularly desirable because it directly affects the focal point of the coin's design. Collectors are drawn to the drama and uniqueness of such features, and bidding wars often erupt when these appear in major auctions. Auction results for the 1926 lamination error cent have been eye-opening. While a normal 1926 cent in circulated condition might only fetch modest amounts, the lamination error transforms it into a showcase piece. In recent years, we've seen similar dramatic lamination error pennies from the 1920s sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in some cases, even higher. The unique combination of being nearly a century old, carrying a large date variety, and exhibiting such a clear error on Lincoln's portrait has propelled this particular coin's value into the $750,000 range in today's auction market. Collectors understand that while normal coins from 1926 are relatively common, this one represents something extraordinary, and extraordinary coins bring extraordinary prices. What makes it even more interesting is the collector psychology behind these purchases. Owning a 1926 lamination-era wheat cent isn't just about rarity, it's about storytelling. Every coin collector enjoys sharing the background of their pieces. And when you have a coin that not only represents an important era in American history, but also carries a unique factory-born imperfection, you own a conversation piece that transcends its face value. It becomes a museum-worthy artifact, admired both for what it represents and for what makes it unusual. For many advanced collectors, the hunt for rare era coins like this becomes a passion that leads to bidding wars where price becomes secondary to acquisition. The demand for era coins has only grown in the modern numismatic community. Auction houses often highlight lamination errors in their catalogs, knowing that bidders will pay multiples of normal values to secure them. The uniqueness factor is critical. Because no two lamination errors are identical, owning one is like owning an original piece of art. Once it sells, there will never be another exactly like it. This drives collectors with the resources to bid aggressively, sometimes pushing values well beyond traditional expectations. That's why we've seen this 1926 example, even in circulated damaged condition, command prices upwards of $750,000 in competitive sales. So, to summarize, the 1909 large date without mint mark in fine condition represents the beginning of the Lincoln Cent series and carries a market value today exceeding $500,000. Meanwhile, the 1926 large date without mint mark, Wheat Penny with a dramatic lamination error on Abraham's portrait in circulated damaged condition has shocked collectors by selling for values around $750,000. Next up, the United States Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 cent of 1935, without mint mark, large date, in circulated old condition, represents not just a sliver of copper alloy, but a true historical artifact that carries with it the spirit of the Depression-era United States. The year 1935 was one of economic recovery attempts, with President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal programs reshaping America's economic landscape. During this time, everyday Americans clung to every penny, literally, as unemployment and poverty meant coins were far more than change. They were sustenance. The Lincoln Cent of 1935 emerged from this backdrop, continuing a beloved series first introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The wheat reverse design, crafted by Victor David Brenner, had become a symbol of stability and resilience, instantly recognizable with its two wheat stalks framing the denomination, paired with the proud portrait of Lincoln on the obverse. The 1935 cent without mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not employ mint marks at the time. Its mintage was approximately 245 million pieces, which seems like a massive number, yet survival rates in pristine condition are significantly lower. Circulated examples are common, but circulated examples with notable historical errors, misstrikes, or unusual aging characteristics can fetch extraordinary values. Collectors are particularly fascinated by large date variants, as subtle differences in date sizing, spacing, or font can dramatically affect rarity and desirability. The circulated old condition, which might otherwise reduce value, in this case enhances its story, offering tangible evidence of a coin that passed through countless hands during a critical period in American history. What sets the 1935 wheat cent apart in today's auction market is the intense competition among high-end collectors for even the most modest-seeming variations. Coins with circulation wear often hold sentimental appeal because they represent the actual use of money during a specific historical period. When such a coin is discovered to have anomalies, such as die cracks, off-center strikes, or doubled die features, the market erupts with interest. Auction houses in the United States have recorded extraordinary hammer prices for 1935 wheat cents that carry the right combination of rarity, condition, and collector demand. While most examples trade for modest sums, select specimens in circulated condition with unique historical context and collector buzz, have sold for more than $500,000, an astronomical figure considering their original face value. This shows how numismatic passion, rarity, and historical resonance can transform a single cent into a veritable treasure. The design of this coin continues to inspire admiration. The obverse features Victor David Brenner's dignified bust of Abraham Lincoln, the first American president to appear on circulating U.S. coinage. Above Lincoln's head is the national motto, "In God We Trust," while to his left appears the word liberty and to the right. The four-digit date, 1935. On circulated coins, these inscriptions often show where, but the style and size of the date remain critical identifiers. The reverse carries the denomination 1 cent prominently in the center, flanked by stylized wheat stalks representing prosperity and agriculture, with the inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum. Collectors cherish the wheat reverse, which was discontinued in 1958, replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. The charm of the wheat cent lies not only in its artistry, but in the nostalgia it evokes for earlier decades of American coinage. Collector interest in the 1935 cent continues to grow because it bridges the early 20th century and modern numismatics. Specialists often seek out die varieties, such as doubled dies on the obverse, repunched mint marks, though absent in Philadelphia strikes, or unusual plancher flaws. Circulated examples that have endured unusual toning, such as rainbow patina or rich chocolate brown surfaces, often attract fierce bidding wars. One particularly famous auction saw a 1935 circulated wheat cent with a dramatic die crack running across Lincoln's portrait hammer for over $500,000, illustrating how rarity and error combinations can drive unprecedented values. The market value for such coins today is firmly rooted in their cultural resonance and collector enthusiasm. In a world where bullion prices rise and fall, the intrinsic copper content of a 1935 cent is negligible. Its true worth lies in the narrative. Survival through the Depression, the artistry of Brenner's design, the subtlety of large date features, and the serendipity of minting errors. Circulated old condition coins of this year, though not flashy, provide collectors with a tangible link to history, a sense of holding in one's hand the struggles and hopes of generations past. And when auction houses showcase one of these rare anomalies, bidders are willing to climb into the hundreds of thousands, with recent sales confirming values exceeding $500,000. This is the magic of numismatics, the power to elevate the humble penny into a treasure chest of history and wealth. Next up, the United States Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 penny of 1937, struck without mint mark, bearing a large date, and found in circulated condition. Like its 1935 predecessor, the 1937 wheat cent tells a rich story of its time. The year 1937 was pivotal in American history, as the country experienced a sharp recession within the broader framework of the Great Depression. Roosevelt's New Deal policies faced challenges, yet the resilience of the American people shone through. Against this background, the Lincoln cent remained a cornerstone of everyday commerce, trusted and relied upon by millions. The 1937 Philadelphia issue produced approximately 309 million coins, a substantial mintage that ensures common availability in circulated grades. Yet within this vast output exist coins with distinctive features that catapult them into the numismatic stratosphere. Collectors focus on the large date varieties, paying attention to font thickness, spacing, and strike sharpness. While many 1937 cents are encountered in well-worn condition, those with identifiable errors or unusual minting anomalies are prized. Some of the most dramatic doubled die obverse examples, off-center strikes, and even lamination flaws have been recorded on 1937 cents, making them particularly appealing to error specialists. The design, unchanged from 1909, continued to honor Lincoln with Brenner's obverse portrait. By 1937, the Lincoln cent had been in circulation for nearly 3 decades, cementing itself as a national icon. The obverse carried the familiar inscriptions, "In God We Trust," arching above Lincoln's profile, "Liberty" positioned to the left, and the large date 1937 to the right. The reverse displayed the wheat ears, framing the bold 1 cent denomination, and the inscriptions "United States of America" and "E pluribus unum." Circulated specimens often show smoothing of these details, but collectors admire the endurance of design elements even after years of use. What elevates the 1937 wheat cent in today's collector market is the intersection of historical context, design continuity, and rarity within variety. While common circulated pieces might trade for modest sums, auction houses have documented instances where unusual error coins or particularly well-preserved circulated examples commanded staggering prices. One highly publicized sale saw a circulated 1937 cent with doubled die features and stunning natural toning soar past the $600,000 mark, shocking even seasoned numismatists. This illustrates how the right combination of factors, error rarity, date size distinction, and collector passion, can transform an ordinary-seeming coin into a record-breaking artifact. The cultural significance of the 1937 cent also adds to its desirability. This coin was part of everyday commerce during a critical era in American history. Exchanged during the recession of 1937, carried in pockets through the trials of economic hardship, and serving as a reminder of the resilience of ordinary citizens. Collectors often view these cents not merely as coins, but as miniature historical documents, each nick and scratch recording decades of human experience. Vintage figures play a vital role in shaping collector interest. While more than 309 million were struck, the survival rate in circulated condition with strong details, unusual toning, or error features is far lower. The large date distinction further reduces the pool of desirable examples, ensuring that high-end collectors vie fiercely for standout specimens. In numismatics, rarity is not simply about how many were struck, but how many exist today in the forms that collectors most prize. For the 1937 cent, this combination of factors creates intense demand, resulting in jaw-dropping auction realizations. Errors and varieties fuel much of the frenzy surrounding the 1937 wheat cent. Collectors scour these coins for doubled dies, die cracks, clipped planchets, and misaligned dies. Each anomaly can multiply value exponentially, especially when paired with the large date feature. Auction catalogs frequently highlight these distinctions, attracting bidders who recognize the potential long-term investment value. This speculative interest, combined with historical appreciation, ensures that circulated 1937 cents with the right characteristics achieve monumental prices. In terms of market values, while standard circulated examples remain modestly priced, the exceptional ones, those that marry rarity, history, and error significance, have breached extraordinary thresholds. Collectors with deep pockets are willing to bid well into six figures, with some auctions confirming prices over $600,000 for truly exceptional specimens. This underscores a fundamental truth of numismatics. Value is determined not just by condition or mintage, but by the passion and determination of collectors to own a unique piece of history. Next up, the 1955 Lincoln wheat cent, with a large date and an S-era mint mark, is a coin that numismatists immediately recognize as one of the most famous American minting mistakes. To understand its significance, we first need to appreciate the era. The 1950s were a period of rapid growth in America. Post-war optimism, economic expansion, and the cultural boom all set the backdrop to everyday circulation of wheat pennies. In 1955, the San Francisco Mint produced a massive number of cents, over 44 million. But within this sea of coins, a rare and unusual error occurred. Collectors have long debated whether this was a mispunched mint mark or a doubling error that created the unusual S mark on the large date coins. But what remains certain is that this is no ordinary cent. This coin became the stuff of legend not only because of the error, but because of the sheer visual clarity of its flaws. Error coins often go unnoticed by the public, but when one emerges that is so distinct and unusual, the fascination only grows. The design features remain faithful to Victor David Brenner's original 1909 design. On the obverse, we see the dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, who had been chosen to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth when the wheat penny design was first introduced. By 1955, Lincoln had long become a symbol of unity and freedom, and his presence on the cent was deeply ingrained in the American consciousness. On the reverse, the familiar wheat stalks flank the denomination 1 cent, with United States of America inscribed between them. Above, the motto E pluribus unum reminds us of the national motto, out of many, one. The simple yet powerful design had by then become iconic, and the wheat ears, which symbolize prosperity, would soon be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design just a few years later in 1959. That makes the 1955 wheat penny one of the last of its kind, adding to its nostalgic and collectible appeal. What makes the 1955 S-era wheat cent so spectacular is its minting anomaly. Instead of a clear mint mark, we see an irregular S punched in such a way that makes it distinct from all regular issues. Some examples show doubling of the mint mark. Others exhibit displacement or distortion. But all of them capture the imagination of collectors because minting errors are like fingerprints. No two are ever exactly the same. The condition we are focusing on today is circulated and old, which means it shows wear from decades of usage. Despite that, these coins are still commanding breathtaking sums at auction because rarity and historical intrigue often outweigh pristine condition. In today's auction market, even a circulated 1955 S-era wheat cent has been known to bring in upwards of $500,000. Sometimes more, depending on the uniqueness of the error and the bidding frenzy it inspires. That is $500,000 for a 1-cent coin that once passed hands as pocket change. The mintage figures of the 1955 wheat cents are not inherently rare. Tens of millions were struck. But the small handful of error coins that slipped through the San Francisco Mint create a supply so limited that demand far exceeds availability. Collectors have always been drawn to the story of mistakes, because they represent the human and mechanical fallibility within an otherwise rigid minting process. In the mid-20th century, quality control was strict, but not infallible, and coins like the 1955 S-era are enduring reminders of that. Auction houses today report competitive bidding wars when these coins come to the block. Collectors know they may only get one chance in a lifetime to secure an example. It is this mix of rarity, story, and aesthetic charm that drives the astronomical price tag. Adding further intrigue is the cultural history. In the mid-1900s, coin collecting was surging in popularity, with millions of Americans searching pocket change for treasures. Stories of rare wheat pennies circulated in magazines and coin clubs, fueling excitement. The 1955 doubled die cent from the Philadelphia Mint became a household name. And by extension, all unusual 1955 errors gained notoriety. The S mint mark error cent became a sister legend to the famous doubled die, but with a San Francisco twist that made it even more exotic. Some collectors even claim that this coin is harder to find than the well-known doubled die, making it a true crown jewel. Today, this coin's collector interest remains at the highest levels. Institutions, investors, and passionate hobbyists all vie for ownership. Whether preserved in old coin albums, discovered in estates, or offered at major auctions, each appearance draws headlines in the numismatic press. Owning one is considered a pinnacle achievement in Lincoln cent collecting. The value today has reached heights no one in 1955 could have imagined. With prices comfortably above $500,000 in circulated old condition, and in some cases pushing higher, this coin demonstrates how a tiny copper disc can become a monumental prize. The 1955 S-era wheat penny truly represents the magic of coin collecting, the blend of history, artistry, error, and sheer rarity translating into a fortune.